Hello. I think you're on. There.
Oh my gosh, hi.
How are you? Oh, what a beautiful house. Let me see your kitchen.
My kitchen, my kitchen. Hold on a minute. I'll lower the volume, it's so loud. Okay. There's my kitchen.
Wow, is it new? That's beautiful.
Yeah, we remodeled it.
I'm in the middle of it now. It's driving me crazy. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, okay.
But it's going to be done soon. I'll
Where do
send
you
you a
live?
picture. I live in DC area, Maryland.
Oh, you do? Oh, you do? I might be visiting one day.
Oh, you better.
No, we'll for work. For work, I might, I don't know, if COVID wasn't such a big pain, we'd be traveling a lot now for work.
Oh, what kind of work do you do?
I'm a microbiologist.
Wow.
And I work at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL.
Nice. Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
And my field of expertise currently is planetary protection, which sounds really weird.
Planetary protection. From what?
Well, we're trying to prevent the cross-contamination of other moons and satellites from earthly organisms. In other words, if you're sending something to Mars or Venus or wherever, you don't want to have any hitchhikers from Earth in terms of bacteria that might sort of infect, and then disrupt the ecosystem if such a thing exists, or the environment, or the bacterial, microbial, microscopic, I don't know.
That's really
we don't know. Yeah, it's very, very challenging to try to send. What?
There's a series on Masterpiece on PBS. It's called Cobra, and it's about sunstorms are like destroying the earth. Anyway, it starts out like West Wing, and then it kind of becomes like the Poseidon Adventures. So I was like, no, I can't deal with any more disasters.
Seriously. Seriously. Yeah. So where do you want to start?
Well, I wanted to first know if you're older or Ara.
I am.
Uh-huh. You look younger.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to cut that out of the video.
No, yeah, you don't need to say that.
He was so popular, I do remember him because he was so popular. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Because when we moved to Iran, we were both born and raised here, right?
Yes.
And then I don't know how much he told you, but it was not exactly our first trip to Iran, but that was when we actually moved to Iran. And this is like September of '74. We just moved there like 2 weeks before school started.
Oh my God. That's fast.
And my dad had already been there. He'd leased an apartment and he was working. And so we were like,
it must have been real disruptive for you.
I was in the 10th grade.
Oh my gosh.
It was very, very disruptive. It was, I at that time I was an introvert. I was very shy. And I remember I had a group of girlfriends whom we met at this Armenian camp in Big Pines over here in the Angeles National Forest.
Uh-huh.
And those were my friends, because the friends at school weren't really, you know how teenagers, middle school kids are and all that stuff. There was a lot. I had curly hair while nobody else had curly hair. I was a Barska High, which means Persian Armenian, and they were all Rusa High, which was Russian Armenians or displaced Armenians from World War II.
Aren't they a little snobbier than Iranian Armenians? I'm just asking.
Have you interacted?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, just a little bit. Like, I went to this restaurant and they were all at a table.
Yeah.
And I started talking to them through the Iranian Armenian experience. And they were like, you know, like clearly.
I don't mingle with you.
Yeah.
They are snobbish, and I don't know where that comes from. It could be many, many factors, historically, wars, displacement, loss of family, you know, trying to survive, being very rough because they've been through a lot. So nobody's their friend, you know, and there's this, it comes from generation to generation. It's not like, it's just that. Yeah, so that's, and then going back to my high school, when I was in high school that last year, we didn't have any, I don't remember whether they didn't have enough funding or resources, but we did not have math in the 9th grade.
Oh my God.
And I landed right in the middle of trigonometry. And it's like, oh my, and I didn't know Farsi. So I had to catch up on Farsi because we had dual citizenship. And Miss Sahakian insisted, yes, she insisted that we need to complete 12 years of Farsi in 3 years or 5 years, if it was our case, 5, 6 years. And I was like, what are you talking about? And that's impossible. You can't do that.
That's a very interesting case.
Yeah, yeah, so to
did
make
you
a long
end up
story
learning Farsi?
Yeah. When I moved to Iran, I only knew 5 words.
Wow.
That was not my mother language. It was not my mother tongue, you know.
Yeah.
When I went to school in America, when I went to kindergarten, I didn't know English. Yeah,
because they only spoke Armenian at home?
Yeah, yeah. And there were a lot of arguments between the school administration and my parents about what language to speak at home, because they wanted everybody to speak English. And my parents said, no, they'll learn English at school. You don't need to learn English at home. And, you know, that went on for years. Anyway, so we went to this army. Anyway, long story short, I came to Iran and we picked up our conversational Farsi in that first year. And then the second and third, I mean, that was the 10th grade. And then during my 11th and 12th grade, I learned how to read and write it.
And my goodness.
Yeah, when I graduated, I was in the 5th grade. So
wow.
Fortunately, I had 2 languages behind me. So learning Farsi, it was a complete different side of the brain.
Yeah.
Going from right to left and different, and then Arabic pops in and it was I picked it up, and Ara remembers it more because I graduated in 77 and he was there until we left in December of 78.
Can I ask you, was that the best school, or, I mean, like,
for us?
That's a tall order for you guys. Yeah. To learn a language in 3 years. That's that hard.
That was the only choice that my parents found feasible for us, because we were, everything that we had been taught was in English. And they weren't very, I don't know why TAS was never considered.
Yeah.
I think this was considered because of the baccalaureate system. And so they were impressed with that. My dad was impressed with that. And so that's how we started that school. That's how we went to that school. And besides, we couldn't go to any Armenian local schools in Iran because we didn't know Farsi. And everything there besides the Armenian language and maybe the history class and the language class and maybe the religion class. Everything else was in Farsi, right? So how
Wow.
could we catch up?
It's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, so everybody was leaving Iran and we came into Iran, and everybody, my friends used to ask me, why do you, I mean, everybody's leaving. Why are you here?
What year did you go there?
September of 74. That was the 74, 75.
Yeah.
That was 10th grade. And then I graduated in 77.
Yeah. Well, I would have to say people started leaving really in 77.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Even
77.
78. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But up until the point where it got shaky, a lot of people were coming, who had studied for years in the US. And
We're
then
coming
because
back.
the economy was good. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
There were lots of jobs, and some
That's
people
why
held
my
on too
dad,
long.
that's exactly why my dad moved back. That's
Uh-huh.
exactly why. Of course, there was another underlying reason. He had to go to Europe. His mom was diagnosed with ALS.
Oh,
And so that was, so the whole family was in Vienna going, seeing specialists. And so when they took her back to Tehran, he decided to hang out and check if he could get a job, because over here, the economy was not good at the time. It was during the energy crisis.
yes.
Everything was just horrible. So I don't even remember if he was fully employed at the time or not. It's possible that he was not. And that's
Mhm.
why he took advantage of that opportunity and took on a job and stayed. And so he lived there in Tehran for about a year and a half until we finally moved. So
Wow.
he went in 73, February of 73.
I bet he missed you guys.
Yeah, but he was a very sociable person, so he had a good circle of friends that he always hung out with.
Wow.
So he
He
had.
warmed it up for you.
Yep.
So how did you feel you fit in, both inside school and then outside in society? I mean, it
Over
must be
there?
hard for women. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The first couple of years, I did not feel I did not feel that I fitted very well at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was very difficult. I was very shy. The school environment, everybody, I mean, I popped in the 10th grade, right? And all the cliques and all the niches, everybody had their group of friends. And I knew a lot of people because they're in my class. And so I knew Humayun, I knew all the Elham and all these people, they were my classmates, but I was very shy, and coming from America, Armenian, everybody spoke in Farsi or English, or so I started to socialize with all the foreigners,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily Americans. I socialized with the Russell twins, who were British, and then I socialized. I had friends. I think the Japanese ambassador's daughter was there.
Yeah.
So Luca Imai, I mean, I remember the names. She was my friend. We used to go. I remember I went to her birthday once, and they picked me up in her limousine.
That's wonderful.
So it was like, oh my gosh, this is a completely different.
Yeah, it's like some ambassador's daughter.
I know. And then there were people from Indonesia. Oh yeah, international. I was trying. I was. It was easier for me to communicate with the foreigners than it was with the Persians, or even with the Armenians that were there, because they were also from the same cliques. So I couldn't really
Yeah,
put myself into any clique.
that is so
So
hard.
it was very hard. And then as my classes, I went from the 10th to the 11th to the 12th, and we moved into the new building when I was a senior, during my senior year. So the new building was fascinating. I finally felt myself a little bit better and more comfortable. And especially, I do remember that I loved this one class, the art class, Madame Donati.
Oh,
Yeah, I loved that class. And I remember that it was during graduation, it was a competition. They couldn't decide who to give the certificate too. And it was me and this other guy, and I can't remember what his name is. For the life of me, I cannot remember his name, but there were two of us. There were two of us, and that was my favorite class.
What did you do for the certificate? What did you do, a painting or
It was all
the whole
drawing,
thing?
painting, and charcoal and acrylic,
Yes,
stuff like that. Yeah, I still have
fantastic.
all those painting. I have all the whole folder. I brought it with me,
Oh, wow. If
fortunately.
you have any that you can take a picture of and send it to me, could you
Oh
do that for
yeah,
me? Yeah. I mean, if they're sitting around somewhere, you don't need to
they're
go
sitting.
and
Yeah,
dig
I'm
in.
trying to remember. There was one that was really that really caught her eye, and I think she took it into the office. And I don't remember if I got that back or not. But yes, I do have others.
Good. That's great.
Mhm. And I did get a whole bunch of pictures out from when I was in Iran during those years. Family pictures. I can scan a couple and send them to you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Because
Yeah.
I have changed. I used to play the piano. I want to show you a picture of what I looked. Wait, where's my camera? Oh, I should have done this way. No. Anyway,
Okay, bring it lower now. Yeah. Lower. Lower. Can't see it. There, now I see the bottom.
oh, I was in the right position. Hold on.
Yeah, you were.
Okay, I'm in the middle over there.
Oh, wow. You're the tallest one there. So cute.
I was tall. I'm still
Yeah,
tall. I'm 5'7". Yeah.
fantastic. That's
So
very tall. For
yeah, Middle East.
somebody for Iran, that's very tall for a woman.
Yeah. So when I graduated, I went to Damavand,
Oh, uh-huh.
that university.
That must
And
have
when
been right in the middle of the revolution.
no, not necessarily. I started in 77, September of 77. And so the first year was fine. I took a whole bunch of courses. I loved it. I saw a lot of friends, from different circles. And we
Was
used
that
to
in
carpool.
Farsi?
No,
It was in English? I don't know
it
anything
was,
about Dalvan College.
oh, you don't?
No.
Okay, it was located in the northeastern part of the city outside of the boundaries of Tehran.
Yeah.
And the architecture was very, very interesting. There was a lot of turquoise colors in it that mixed with the hues of the environment. And it was mostly arches, I remember, but I don't have any pictures of it.
I'll
I
find
should,
some. I'm
you should
sure
be
it
able
was an
to.
interesting place.
It was, and it had a famous architect, but I can't remember the name. I want to say Wright, but I don't want to, I could be
Uh-huh.
wrong. But I went over there and everything was in English. So the first year was fine. And then the summer of 78 was fine. September, I started school. Oh my God.
What
That
happened?
place was completely different. Of course, it was still all women, but they went, I mean, the 77 was all Western. Everybody
Yeah.
wore like me.
Yeah.
And then starting in September of 78, when I went back, everybody was in chadors. And
Wow.
and then they would have protests. I remember there were a couple of protests. And then finally on November 5th, that's when you know the story. I mean, November
Yeah.
5th when yeah. So they announced that the university was closed. They came on speakers, that they came on loudspeakers and announced that everybody had to leave now.
Yeah.
And this was in the outskirts, and there was not you have to call a cab or something, or hitch a ride.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't any commercial transportation methods. So I was stuck.
Oh boy.
I was stuck and I couldn't go anywhere. And I had a girlfriend who was German, who was married to an Iranian. And so she said, come over to my house. I live in Yavaran. And so
Yes.
you can come over and stay until the next morning. And and of course nobody had cell phones or anything like that. So I did go to her home, and we went on top of the rooftop.
Mm-hmm.
And so Iran was on the hills,
Yeah.
right? So the whole city was in front of you, and you could see plumes of fire and smoke everywhere. And you know the story. I mean, that's when it all started, realistically. And so I stayed the night terrified.
I'll bet.
My dad was in Kermanshah at the time. So my uncle came at 6:30. The minute the curfew was lifted, he came and picked me up. And so when we were driving down Pahlavi, I remember there were tanks in the street.
Yes, that's when I got scared too.
Yeah. I'm sure everybody experienced. When did you leave?
I left in August of 80. No, 79.
Oh
So,
my God.
I mean, Khomeini came in February, and then it started getting really bad. So by August, my parents decided it would be better if I left.
Yeah, my brother, I don't know if Ara told you about his experiences during that time.
Some, yeah. You didn't watch my interviews with them?
I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, they're great. I got like 6 or 7 videos.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, he was almost mugged. I mean, they came on him because he was riding his skateboard. And so that was like the last straw that made my dad decide that we need to leave now. And it was like December, like 5 days later, we had to leave. Because he was so blonde. I mean, everybody thought he was an American.
Yes. And he talked like one, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And they didn't know that he understood every single word that they were saying behind his back.
Yeah.
So he really had it rough. I had it rough different ways. He had it rough that way. So you left after we did, because we left in December.
Yeah. About 6 months after, 7 or 8 months after. Yeah. But, you know, in the period where, well, here's what I was going to ask you. Do you think that the women in your college were putting on chadors to be revolutionary, like as a defiant symbol, or was that their true feelings that they couldn't express?
No, it was to defy the government. They were rebelling.
To rebel.
They were rebelling, absolutely.
Wow. Because, you know, people do that here too. Like their parents, they're maybe Muslim, their parents never wore a hijab, and then they'll put one on and just, it happens a lot here. Yeah.
In DC, or just, or talking generally
in the
US,
especially after 9/11, when there was extremism against Muslims here, or people that looked Muslim. So they start wearing that as a symbol. And to me, I was like, that's freedom. I wasn't used to that. Yeah.
I know.
But I think some of the women now, they regret that. You know, who are like, they're our age now, looking back, they're like, no, we shouldn't have done that. Because it's like giving up your own rights, in my opinion.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So, so after your uncle picked you up, you just stayed home until?
We stayed home until, that was November the 5th, and we stayed home until December 8th. And that was when they would shut off the power. There was no electricity. It was cold. It was freezing. No heaters, no water. We filled the bathtub with water. We lived in very, and candlelight for lighting the interior of the house.
Yeah.
And so I have 2 dogs here. And so
maybe I get to see him at the end.
Yeah, I'll show you right now.
Okay.
I'll show you right now. Huh? They're going to be chasing each other. Where are they? Can you see them?
Hi. Oh, I want my dog back.
What happened to your dog?
He died. He was very old. He was big, and he lived to be 16. But I still miss him a lot. Yeah, I was very lucky. But I think about getting another dog, and I'm like, no, it's not that one. I like that one.
You know what happened with us is that we had a dog. We had a lab, a yellow lab years ago. And then that dog died. And then I decided I'm not going to get another dog. That's it. I'm done. And so that was about 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago that the dog, no, yeah, about 10, 15 years ago. Anyway, so I go to Florida for work in January, on January 3rd. And I'm deployed. I'm staying there, and I'm going to have monthly visits coming back, going, back and forth, whatever, according to our contract.
Yes.
So my daughter gets that big dog. That was a puppy. She got the dog like 5 days before I left, and he was only 12 weeks old, and he weighed 20 pounds then. And so I said, okay, you guys, you're going to take care of that dog. Fine. You know what you're doing.
How old's your daughter?
My daughter, this one is 27.
Oh, okay.
That one. Yeah. She's 27. My older daughter, do you want to come over and say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
I knew your mom when she was a teenager.
She hasn't changed, I'm sure.
I have. Yeah. So
the dog was this big, and you went to Florida, and when you came back.
And when I came back in August. So I was there for 8 months. And in the meantime, COVID hit.
Oh.
And this was a beautiful blessing to have this dog. I swear to God, never thought of it. I would never have thought this would happen, but it was a blessing. My older daughter was in Texas getting her master's. She got a cat.
Aww.
So, and then when she got her master's, she came back, and then when I came back in August, we had a cat and a dog at home. And then the dog was so much fun. I thought, I want a dog. So we went and got this puppy. And then we have 2 dogs and a cat.
But the other one's going to stay smaller?
No, it's the same breed. This little one is a puppy. He's 11 weeks old now. He's the big dog. It's an Australian Shepherd. So the big Aussie weighs 63 pounds. I think this other younger Aussie is going to be probably 50 pounds, 45, 50 pounds smaller.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
No, it's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
My dog was a lab. He was 80 pounds. He was really big.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, we kept calling him Pipsqueak when he was little because he wasn't growing. And then
he had a growth spurt.
I mean, a huge growth spurt.
How old was he when he got that growth spurt?
8 months.
Wow.
Yeah, he was like kind of runty, where I was like, maybe we got the runt of the litter. It's okay. And then,
yeah, it's funny how this little dog, when we got him, he was so tiny. He was like 9 pounds. And then even day by day, I noticed his paws would get big, and then the back paws would catch up, and then his spine, he would get longer, and then the feet would get longer, and then it was just like systematic growth.
It's never all at the same time, is it?
So it's a lot of fun to observe.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Did you have any?
We were talking about.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you met any new extended family when you went back. I mean, when you went to Iran, since it was your first time there.
To Iran? Oh, no, okay. So we step back a few steps.
Yeah, because I think Ara said your mom was Iranian. I mean, Armenian, Iranian.
No. Both my parents are Armenian. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They met. My mom's family immigrated or fled the Russian Armenia back during the Bolshevik Revolution with all her uncles, a whole family of 4 brothers and their wives and their children left in 1930 and came to Iran.
Mm-hmm.
So she grew up in Iran. She and her siblings grew up in Iran, in Tehran. her youngest sibling was born in Iran, Tabriz. But my dad's family is actually interesting. His father's from Tabriz, so he's Armenian, but his mom was from Georgia, Tiflis.
Wow.
So we're Caucasian. If you want to look at it that way geographically,
Yes.
we're Caucasian. So they met and they married in Iran, and then a year later they moved to the States. So they had left their siblings and their families and everybody in Iran. So when they moved to the States, eventually the siblings started to move to follow my parents to the United States.
Ah.
So that's what happened. So I had one uncle, my mom's brother, who could not afford to move and had stayed in Tehran. So we met with them. That was my immediate first cousins. Those were my first cousins. And unfortunately, he died like a month before we moved.
Oh.
So
What happened
we had
to him?
heart attack,
I'm
massive
so
heart attack.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very sorry because his youngest daughter was like 8 and his oldest was like 13.
Wow.
But it was he just
How
didn't
are
take
they
care.
doing now?
They're all here. My cousins are all here. They're married, have kids, life goes on.
Yeah.
Life goes
Thank
on.
goodness.
Yeah,
I
thank
mean,
goodness for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going back to Iran, when I moved over there, my first cousin, his oldest daughter was closer to me in age. So I hung out with her. And then at the other extended families, yeah, we had my dad's brother, my uncle, he was a spinster. He was never married.
Yeah.
Not a spinster. What am I saying? He never married.
Bachelor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bachelor. Yeah, so his hobby was hunting, driving. If he had a 4-wheel drive, he would have done that. He had a Jeep back in those days. And so it was with them. We spent most of our time with them and other second, my dad had first cousins there. So we mingled with those families.
That's
And
wonderful.
so, yeah, it is. And we had, back when my mom and my dad moved to the United States in 1958, my mom, after my brother and I were born, she went back to Iran and to Tehran in 1962, 63. And so we stayed there for about a year.
Wow.
Yeah, so my mom stayed with her sisters. And so she was so homesick because nobody was in the States. It was just her and my dad. Nobody.
That's
all
so brave of them to do that.
Right?
Yeah.
I
Very
agree.
brave.
I agree. And so when we moved back, that's when we got christened over there at the church, and we were still young. We were not school age. So
Yeah.
when we came back, we went to school. But from 1963 to 1974, there were a couple of times that we went back for summer vacations.
Yeah.
So it was not really the first time that I saw that I was in Iran when I moved there. I had been there the summer before to visit my dad, and then 3 years prior to that on another occasion. So it was, we had a good experience in Iran, actually. I think we had a really good opportunity to explore and travel. So we drove in the summer of 75. We went all the way up north towards the cathedral. There's these Armenian monasteries by the border with Turkey that had pilgrimages, Tadeus and Stepanos. There's 2 of them. So we did that. So I mean, you do drive across the country. So we saw the country. We saw Tabriz. We went over there. And then on different occasions, we went south. We went to Isfahan. We went to Shiraz, Kermanshah.
Which one was your favorite out of all the travels? Or is that too hard?
No, it's not too hard. Probably going to the monasteries because it's so historical.
Yes. Yeah. It's sort of,
Yeah.
and it's sort of like related to your
My culture.
background on a deep level. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Did you ever go
Yeah.
to Armenia while you were there?
Not during those years. Okay, my parents were very involved in the United States with the community. So they started Armenian schools, and they had their hands into everything. They were very involved. So my dad and I, we did go to Armenia from the United States back in 1971 or 72. And I met all my mom's aunts and uncles and her first cousins. And my dad met his uncle who had moved to Yerevan.
Mm-hmm.
And so we met all these people, and it was a really nice experience. And, the first day I remember Armenians, I mean, you know how people from the Middle East are very hospitable, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I remember that the first day that we got there, they picked us up from the airport. We went to 7 different homes and had dinner at 7 different residences until we finally got to our hotel.
Wow.
Completely knocked out.
Fantastic.
My
Then
dad
you're
was
like,
having
I'm
a
full.
ball. Oh my God, kebab after kebab after kebab after kebab after kebab. And my dad was vodka after vodka after vodka. Let's drink
That's
to
the
this, let's
good
drink to
part.
that.
My dad, who was a secular Muslim, he made a joke during the revolution. He said, I was talking to the guy who was the painter. He had a painting company, and he's
Uh-huh.
Armenian. And
Uh-huh.
I said, how are you doing? He goes, I'm going back to Armenia. He goes, what? There's no freedom in Armenia, because it was Soviet at that time. He goes, well, now there's no freedom there. There's no freedom here, but at least there's vodka there.
That's funny. I wonder if he eventually did move back.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So are your parents both Iranian?
No, my mom's Italian.
Your mom's Italian. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yeah.
So you
So
must
that's,
have family in Italy.
huh? Let me
Do
close
you have
this.
family?
Yes, I do. On my
Oh,
mom's side. Yeah.
yeah. How fun.
Unfortunately, I don't get to see them often enough because it's just expensive to travel there. Europe is crazy expensive.
I know. Especially now, it's almost impossible. You don't want to travel right now.
No. Now it's cheap, but it's risky.
It's so risky. It's terrifying.
If you're saying that, it's terrifying.
It's not safe. I refused. I made, when I was deployed in Florida, I made our management, I and some other microbiologists insisted that we have a private jet to come back home.
Good for you.
And so we got the private jet because it's too risky. It was just too risky.
And I think that even then, more so than now, but even now, we don't know enough about this virus.
No, we don't.
It's so new and so bizarre,
Yeah, unfortunately, things like this do happen though.
Yeah.
We just have to be able to dodge it.
It's hard though.
I know it's not easy, but
it's stronger than we are. I mean, they try to be. The bugs do.
Yeah, but you have to, because it's like it's just for a couple of years. You have to be extra careful and extra cautious and washing hands, and socially it's very, very, very hard.
Yeah. But I think the mask is a very key weapon.
Oh, absolutely. The key, the mask, and keeping your hands clean.
Wow.
Your hands
have it.
That's it. All you need is the mask.
Come in.
It's the mask. Yeah, you need to have your mask on.
Yeah.
Definitely. And the distance, even with a mask on. What's
air conditioning var.
So anyway, the dogs were barking outside. So
do you think that does Ara have maybe some of those Russian genes? Is that why he's so blonde?
Well, you know what it is. Armenians were generally known to be very light in color complexion
Uh-huh. Yeah.
historically. We had a lot of your blonde genes and white skin and stuff. And so my dad's side of the family, his uncles and his father all had blue eyes. My dad
Oh,
had green
okay.
eyes.
Interesting.
My mom's family, of the 4 siblings who had children, every single one of them had a child who was born blonde
Yeah.
and eventually with light skin, just like my brother, and who turned their hair turned sandy blonde.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
with the invasions, the Mongolian and Arabic and all this stuff, you have a pool of genes that get mixed up. But
Yes.
historically, they were very light in color. That's what I've heard.
They're Caucasian.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is that they have discovered genetic markers that are very common with Armenians in Ireland.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder if
And-
they branched off, at some
And they
point.
have a lot of crosses, and the way they decorate their crosses and they carve the crosses are very similar to our cross stones.
Oh, that's interesting.
And they have, as well as the Basque have a different story, but they, in their legends, they talk about being descendants of people from the East.
Interesting. Oh, I would love to look into that.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And then there's also the Basque who do share a lot of nouns and verbs that have common Armenian roots
Interesting.
and names of rivers,
Wow.
names of certain things. So it's all very, very interesting. I find
Yeah.
that that's
You can really get into that,
oh, very easily. Very easily. I have a book. I don't know where it is. I'll send you the name, but it talks
Okay.
about all this genetics and the way
I would love to know what book that is, because I started downloading some genetic calculators.
Oh,
Yeah, I'll send some to you. It's the free version is very slow, but it's free, and it has a lot of different calculators. Like there's a Caucasus calculator,
interesting.
but because I don't know the history, when I get the results, I'm like, well, what does this mean? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it can really be a rabbit hole, considering we're all busy.
I know.
But such a book would really help.
I will look it up and I'll send it to you. Both my husband and I are very interested in family trees. So we keep adding names and going back and talking and interviewing and doing all this. So we have our trees go back to about the early 1800s.
Yeah.
9 generations. So if I know that I can do all of these ancestry.coms and stuff like that, but I know where I'm going to land because I have my trees.
Yeah. Exactly.
But it's just interesting. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, I haven't sent in DNA, mostly because it's such a legal no man's land,
I know.
because like your whole genetic code is out there floating around.
I know. I don't want to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, especially for us. So what you have a PhD? What do you have your PhD in?
Sociology.
Oh, interesting.
Study of
this
people.
is up your alley then.
It really is. I just, at some point, but I'm a new sociologist. I only got my PhD 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I'm like on my 3rd career. So I thought we'll do something. Before that, I was working as 10 years I was doing sociology as a graduate student. But before that, I was a massage therapist.
That's still sociology.
That's true.
I know that. I mean,
the study of people.
You meet people, you talk, and
absolutely
people share information, and it becomes very,
it's very people oriented, which I love
very
to
much.
do.
very
Yeah.
much. So were you also living in Iran your whole life until the revolution?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're
So-
fluently bilingual or trilingual?
Yes. Bilingual. My mom started speaking to me in Italian when my dad was at
Mhm.
work, when I was a
Mhm.
baby.
Mhm.
And apparently he came home and said, don't speak in Italian, it'll confuse her. And so she stopped. So my Italian is very elementary, but I remember we went there for a reunion when I was 3. And when we stepped out of the car from the airport, I knew what people were saying to me, you know?
Oh,
I'm thinking,
interesting.
how did I know that? How did I know what they were saying? But sadly, I didn't learn like the compound verbs and the past tense. And so when I
Mm.
speak, it's very obvious that
It's not your.
I'm a novice, you know, it's
Yeah.
not my first language or even my second language. But I
Yeah.
do love it.
I love Italy too. I've been there many times. I mean, I've not many times. I've been to Venice. I've been to Rome twice. Yeah, 3 times.
The people are very open and, you know, they know how to
Yeah.
be happy for other people and how to live
Yeah.
up life.
That is so
Can't
important
say,
to know how to live.
yeah,
I didn't hear what you said. I didn't hear what you.
that's not the way it is for all Europeans, but certainly for
Correct.
them.
Correct.
Like my mom, she had always had this dream to go visit Austria.
Uh-huh.
And she went to Austria and she said, you know, everything was as gorgeous and wonderful as I thought it would be, except the people were so nasty. She found them to be cold, you know,
Oh,
but
German.
it's not like Germanic kind of.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So yeah,
They're
people are
very.
different.
Here's my son. Here's my son.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Looks a little like Ara.
Yeah, he sort of looks like me, in my opinion, but the girls look like their dad.
Ah, interesting.
Hmm.
Does Ara live near you?
And my brother looks like my dad.
Ah,
He is the splitting image of my father when my father was his age.
interesting.
Hmm.
Very interesting. Did you go on that? I knew he just went on a hiking trip. Did you guys join him on that?
Zion and whatchamacallit, Bryce.
Yeah.
We went exactly 1 week later, and we didn't really know that we were going to go, but then we found the puppy online in Utah, and so we made we made a sort of like a long weekend drive to pick up our puppy. So and then
Fantastic.
yeah, so we decided, well, let's go and we'll visit Zion and we'll visit Bryce, and then we'll go to Ogden finally and pick him up. And that's what we did. So we went and spent a day in Zion and then drove up to Bryce and then drove up to Ogden and then drove more than 700 miles on one day coming back.
Oh my gosh. You
That
must
was
have
so
taken
hard.
turns.
That was so hard. 14 hours.
That is way long. The longest I've ever driven is like 10 hours. And that was hard.
Oh, that's hard. Yeah. No, this was like 750 miles. And because I can't remember but when I calculated when we got home, it had been 14 hours that we had been on the road. And we had
That's
tried
long.
not to make any stops or as minimal as we could.
Yeah.
But of course, there was Vegas. And so there's always traffic on that stretch of road. So it just took a little bit
It's
longer
hard
than
not to get out in Vegas.
I have no problem getting out of Vegas. I'm okay. I'm okay. Other
They have
people
nice
have.
stores there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh, I know that. That's what I like about Vegas. Otherwise, I don't like Vegas.
Yeah, I don't like the gambling and all that. I could care less.
Oh yeah, then we're in the same boat.
Yeah. So when you came back from Iran, did you
Yeah.
have to like readjust after readjusting? Was there
Yeah.
like another adjustment?
Yes,
What was that like?
very hard because we fled. I mean, we didn't flee like others have fled, but we sort of left at the spur of the moment. So my brother and I came. We didn't know whether my mom was going to come or whether my dad was going to come. So my grandmother and my cousin picked us up from the airport and took us to their home. So we were visiting and living at their home and trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, this is like during December, and I was in a la la land. I don't know. I was like
Yeah.
completely zombied out. And my aunt was like, hey, Anna, you know, January's coming up. You better go sign up for community college for class or get your car insurance. And she sort of budged me because I was completely in a daze. It was so
Yes.
difficult coming back. And then eventually my mom and my dad followed a few weeks after that. So by
that's
January, I
good.
think my dad left. Ara might know better. I think my dad left like a couple of days right before the Shah did, or a couple of days right after the Shah did. I don't remember exactly when my dad left, but I know it had to do very close. It was very close to the Shah's departure. And when when he came, well, obviously there was not going to be enough room for 4 people at my aunt's house. So fortunately for us, we had not sold our home in the United States.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we had not sold it. So we had our primary residence, and then there was a grandmother's unit in the back. So the primary residence had been leased and we couldn't break the lease, but the back unit was available. So the back unit, which was like 400 square feet,
Oh, that's small.
that's where we lived for 5 months until the lease ended, and then we moved back into our home.
Wow.
So that's when we had, and then our dog came back with us too. So we had, I mean, our dog moved from the United States to Iran and back.
Wow,
World
fancy
travel-
dog.
World travel dog,
Yes.
a poodle. Anyway, so it was my dad and my mom and my brother and I and a dog in a little 1 bedroom.
That's like an
Grandmother's
efficiency size, you know?
It was horrible.
I'll bet.
It was really, really difficult. And then once we started moving back into our home, I don't remember the transition period. That was probably the latter half of 1979.
Yeah.
So my dad started work, as things started to go back to sort of some pattern of normalcy.
Yeah.
Either work or school. I was going to the community college. My brother was in high school. My dad found a job. My mom was working at the public school system, and then she worked at the Bank of America. So
Yeah.
we recovered, but it was very difficult.
Yeah.
My mom got breast cancer at the time.
Oh boy. When did she
And that was
find that
because
out?
how did she
When
find
did she
that
find,
out?
no, when did she find out? Was it right when you got back or?
I think her surgery was in January of 81 or something like that.
Oh.
81. So imagine moving from a luscious, I'm not a luscious, a fantastic lifestyle where you haven't made it home.
Mhm.
And for my mom, okay?
Yeah.
And my mom, just like I'm sure you've seen, I mean, she had her clique of friends and they go out everywhere and everybody was dressing chic and getting stuff from Europe and good lifestyle and
Yeah.
good life. And so, and then coming back to nothing, 1 bedroom, I mean, a little 400 square foot room,
Yeah.
and then gradually trying to build your way up and back. And so no maid, all by yourself. And for her, it was very difficult. She was 50 at the time.
Oh. It's harder to adjust.
When you're older.
And then you find out you have breast cancer. It's
And then,
devastating.
and then she told me one day, and I said, oh, Mom, you have to go this has to be, you have to address this right now.
Yeah.
So within a week or 2 at most, she had a mastectomy.
Mhm.
Thank goodness it had not progressed to any of her lymph nodes.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, and so she was okay. She didn't have to do any chemo or radiation. She just had to go through continuous monitoring, every 3 months or 6 months or until, the 5-year thing.
Yeah.
So she recovered.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God she recovered. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it would
Where
have been
she
really
now?
hard.
Is she still around?
I'll
Where is
send you a
she?
picture of her. She's not
Oh, that
at
would
home.
be wonderful.
She still lives at the same home.
Okay, I'm gonna send you all the Ara links, and once I produce yours, I'll send you your links, and if you want, you can send it to her.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I think she would like that.
I think she would love to see it. She's 92 years old now,
Oh, she'd love to
and
see it.
she'd love to see it. But the thing is that I don't think she's as comfortable with computer technology.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll
Well,
show
if
it
you
to
go
her.
visit her, just show
Oh
it to her
yeah,
on an iPad or something.
sure. Yeah. Well, definitely.
That's
Yeah, do
great.
that.
I'm so delighted to hear that she beat it for that long, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Originally, she was very terrified. And I kept on telling her of friends that I knew of women at the time. I mean, her friends who had had mastectomies, double mastectomies, decades before. I mean, like I know one woman who's still around, just like
That's
her. So
wonderful. Yeah, that's
it
good.
is. It is. It
Yeah.
is.
I know one thing that was kind of hard in Iran was like it's restrictive for women because it's not safe. You know, men have a lot more freedom. That was something that really got on my nerves because my brother would go out whenever,
And you couldn't.
probably too free. He was probably too free.
Was your brother older than you?
Yeah, he was
When did
older.
when did he graduate?
He was class of 78.
Okay, I might if I see his picture in the yearbook, I might recognize him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see if I can find it and send it to you.
Okay. My pictures in the yearbooks are pretty miserable.
Oh,
I look
aren't we all? The lighting is terrible.
all the lighting and then like, oh God, black and white pictures and
Yeah, I didn't like being in school that much anyway, so I always look miserable in yearbook pictures.
that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, the most I remember enjoying being around people in school was after school let out because of bomb threats. The kids were bored,
Oh,
so we'd have parties at each other's houses. I
oh
was like,
yeah, that was the
nah,
best
this
part.
is a good thing. When I hated school.
I bet. Well, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. I forgot.
Something about brothers and sisters, the brothers being more free.
About women's liberties. And so I
Yes.
remember that during that fall when I went to Damaman the second year,
Mm-hmm.
I remember that we used to have to carry scarves in our purse with us
Oh, yes.
because of all the acid threats.
Oh my God.
And I remember one time, me and my girlfriend, we got into a cab and then we heard that there was a commotion and both of us had to put them on. And it was like, you're terrified because you want to do it as fast as you can.
Yeah.
But in doing it so hastily, you can probably put it on the wrong way, or
Yeah.
it looks very sloppy and immature or unprofessional or whatever. It was
Like
just
they
very
can tell you
terrifying.
just put it on, you mean? Yeah. Absolutely.
It was very scary. Oh, and one time, right, like the day before I left Iran with my brother, I remember that my mom and I went to get some traveler's checks. And so I was wearing this red outfit.
Ah, cool.
My mom sewed it. I still have it with me. And so I was wearing this outfit, and it was during the, what was that month?
Ashura. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
during the,
Oh, it's hard. Ashura, so everything's a tragedy, you know. They
oh,
close all the stores.
And so I went to, hold on. Okay. I went to my mom, myself, and one of my friends, where is he? I want to show you a picture. This guy, this guy.
Yeah.
So the three of us went to the Bank of Mali, to get traveler's checks.
Yeah.
And so we approached the square where the bank was, and it was completely closed off. You
Mhm.
had the army or the soldiers or whatever with
Yeah.
armed, and it was completely taped off. And there were like hundreds and hundreds of people there wanting to get inside the bank and remove their assets.
Oh, a run on the bank.
Yeah. And so we're over there standing next to them, and my mom sees one of her friends from inside the bank waving at her and signing to her and telling her, well, if you go this way or that way, we'll open the door, you can get in. So
How wonderful.
you cannot imagine what happened. So we started wiggling in through the mass. So it's my mom, this guy, and then me, the three of us, like chain linked. Okay. So we
Yeah.
started wiggling in, and then the mob saw that we had access, and we were entering while they were not able to. So they got a hold of me, and they
Oh my
started pulling
gosh.
me this way. And then my mom and my friend were pulling me that way. So I was
Yeah.
literally in a tug of war, and I was terrified. I was stupid me. I had that red dress on. with a
Easy to
coat on.
spot.
I had a coat on, but it was like, oh my God, if it shows, they're gonna catch me. They're gonna take me to prison. I mean, it was such a terrifying experience.
Wow. What happened
was-
ultimately?
So they let go. Somehow they lost the grip. He lost my grip, and
Oh,
we
thank
made
God.
it inside and got our traveler's checks and fled and went back home. But it was the most terrifying experience.
I'm
was
so
really,
glad you
really-
had a friend in there.
Yeah. When the movie Argo came out, when I went to that theater, I suffered so much anxiety. I was short of breath. I couldn't breathe. when I saw the bazaar scene,
Yeah.
and people asking, poking around and giving them a hard time, all this came back to me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was very terrifying. I mean, I don't know. I was only there for a couple months, but it was really bad.
Yeah.
Being
It's like
American,
the whole
I don't
thing
know.
was collapsing, the whole edifice.
Yeah.
And Argo was very well, it really looked like Iran the way they made it.
Oh my, the airport.
Yes.
Oh my God, the
I mean,
airport.
most films about Iran are like, that's not Iranian, but Argo was like, whoa.
I know,
know?
I know the jackets they wore. I mean, Ara had one
Yes.
of those jackets.
Even the tiles in the hotel,
Yes.
the
yes.
designs and
Everything was really,
Yeah.
really well made. I agree.
but that was the story of Argo was one of these like, ha ha, we got out.
Right.
Because it wasn't those poor people's fault,
Wait, the dogs are playing too much?
Can
Okay,
you see me?
I can see you. The dogs were making too much noise.
Oh, okay. I said, because it wasn't really those poor people's fault, that
No, of course,
they wouldn't let him get out. And
no, it was not their fault. But the passports and the airport, and it just brought back
and
a lot
the
of.
thing about like being in the airplane until you get past the
Oh,
Iran
yeah.
airspace.
Yeah.
Oh.
I did the same thing. When my brother and I fled, I waited until we passed the airspace, and then I flipped my passports.
Good for you.
It was so I was 19.
Yeah, it's a very tough age.
It was a tough age.
Yeah. Well, I have loved talking to you.
Yeah,
And
but it's
if
what
I
time
ever,
is it? Oh my gosh, it's 12.
yeah, it went by fast.
Yeah, it did.
So if I
Thank you
come
so-
out there, I'm gonna visit you.
Do that.
Okay.
and I'll visit you.
Absolutely. If you come out this
Because-
way, we'll do a tour of, there's a lot of new stuff going on. There's a
Are you
new,
close? Are you close to John Hopkins?
it's an hour away. That's
Okay,
in
because
Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore. Yeah.
Yeah, we go
That's
there
where-
a lot.
You go there a lot?
Yeah, because my wife Rachel plays in an orchestra there, guitar.
Okay.
It's
How
out
fun.
of Peabody. Yeah, she's doing it just for
What
fun.
does she play?
Guitar.
Oh,
They have like the best guitar program in the country.
nice.
So it's like,
Peabody,
why
I think I've
not?
heard of it. I think I've heard of it.
Yeah,
to
it's
be
the
honest.
Peabody School of Music.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I used
So
to
what do
play.
you
the
guys do
piano.
up there?
We work with Advanced Physics Laboratory, APL.
Uh-huh.
We are in contract with them developing another mission to go to Jupiter's moon Europa.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. So that's what we do. And so they're a collaborator. We have other collaborators in
She sounds like she's in
Texas.
distress.
No, he's fine. He's just noisy.
I know. He's like a baby. He sounds like he's dying.
Yeah, he talks. He is so talkative.
He's the Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. he's
Hold
fine.
him up to the
Anyway,
camera again. Oh, so cute.
See, he's all noise.
He's
Drama,
squeaky.
drama, drama. Yeah, very much. He's
Well, that's
crazy.
wonderful. He is. He's teasing your big boy.
Uh-huh. All the time until he gets whacked.
Yeah, and then he goes, ow.
Help!
Yes.
Drama, drama.
Okay, so when you get a chance, as time goes by, if you can like
I'll
take
send you
pictures
stuff.
of your picture,
I
send
will
it to
do that.
me.
I will do that.
And then what I'm
now I
gonna do is edit the videos and then send you the links. And if you like them, then we'll put them up I put them one day at a time, just to
Okay.
entice people.
Good. Do you
But-
get people? What happened? He peed? Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Good. Good job.
I'll cut
Anyway.
that out of the video.
Yeah, please.
Please.
Yeah, it's time for you to go outside. Okay.
All right. It's so great meeting you.
Likewise, Jessica. It
Yeah.
was a pleasure.
Yeah,
And let's
hopefully
keep
I'll
in touch,
talk to you
okay?
again soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.